following show is a paid program.
Hi, how's everything going? I am so glad you are with me on today. On today, we have one of the best recording artists. As a Washington, D.C. native, just want to tell you a little bit about her before we say her name. As of age 21, she decided that she was disillusioned and wanted to do music full time. She told her mother that after 10 years of singing as a hobby, she wanted to dedicate her life to music. With a degree in political science and Black studies, Cecily, who is a recording artist, vocalist, and songwriter, began her career totally in full time. It was music that mattered most then and now. I present you Cecily, recording artist, vocalist, and songwriter. Hey, lady.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. I love that. At age 21, you just decide, hey, I'm ready. I mean, I have my degree, but I still want to do music. Why so?
Well, I always knew music was going to be a part of my life in some way, but I always thought of it more as a hobby. And I went to college with the intention of working in international relations and development.
Mm-hmm.
And I really was interested in those things, but I through my studies I realized that what I was searching to do was really help people and that I
Yes.
could also do that through music, which just fit me better, just felt like my purpose in life. So I decided to follow that.
And what did mom say? I'm just waiting to hear that.
So I told my mother first that, I was thinking about this. She asked me why. I told
Mm-hmm.
her,
Right.
why I wanted to do it. And she said, okay.
Wow, that's great. That's great. But in reading about you, you always had music in your home anyway, and you're from Washington, D.C., so music is a lot there. It's great. You have places that they had it, and your parents they had their different artists. One was Miles Davis, and your mom, I think, Smokey Robinson. So it was always kind of music. They loved it anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, my parents have always been really supportive. Like they
Right.
paid for my voice lessons all through, high school and
Yes.
college, and they came to all my performances, recitals and choir performances and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I feel like they might have known in some way that maybe I would end up doing music.
Right.
So, yeah, it just worked out. It worked out well. And the main thing my mom did when I told her was that she said, okay, let's do it. And she asked me if I was going to finish my degree. I said, yes, I'm going
Exactly.
to finish my degree. And then she started sending me a whole bunch of books about the
Mm,
music business because she
yes.
wanted me to really understand how the business worked and how I could succeed in it. So my mom is always really, like a go for it type of person. Like if you tell her you want to do something, she says, "We'll start now." So
Right.
that's kind of how she approached it with me once I reassured her that I was not going to drop out of school.
I love that. I was waiting for that part. Also, in listening to you, what type of music do you call your voice, your style? What type of music is it?
So I consider myself a soul music artist.
Yeah.
I think that it's the best description of what I do. But,
Hmm.
my sound is very much R&B as well.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the contemporary R&B sound you might hear on the radio,
Hmm.
but it very much is R&B influenced for sure, and also heavily influenced by jazz, influenced by folk music. So you'll hear all of that in my music, yeah.
I like what you said about the business. Many times people or artists, they start out with the show, they know how to deliver, but the business part of it, and that's why they call it the music business, they neglect getting representation many times, and many times they're taking for granted through their contracts. And I love that your mom gave you so many, gave you the resources. How did that benefit you as you were starting on your way?
Well, it's interesting. I was watching a documentary that followed D'Angelo a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago, and he
Mm-hmm.
said that the music business is a contact sport.
Yes.
And I felt that, I
Yeah.
felt that in my bones when he said that. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely true. I mean, you can read as many books as you want, and it's so important to be knowledgeable about the business side of things. But at the end of the day, you learn through doing, you learn
Mm-hmm.
through trial and error. And that's how I've really learned throughout the years, starting off by being managed by some family members and then eventually managing myself. And it just forces you to learn a lot about yourself, to learn a lot about how to negotiate, what do you need to include in your contracts, and all the different potential income streams. And it's a lot. That's the thing, the music business is ever evolving too. I always tell any of my
Right.
friends that are interested in entrepreneurship or tech that the music business is one of the fastest evolving industries that there are, and it's a lot to keep up with. So, but you just remain curious and you just keep learning.
I love in talking to you because you are also a person that teaches and shares. And many of the artists that are even, I mean, they're even mainstream artists and they don't know a lot of this about, the process that goes along with it, about how to make a music video and things like that, how to pick a producer. What would you tell them in doing so? How would they go about doing that?
I think the most important thing is always go with your gut instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you work with people who make you feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
work with people who you instinctively trust. And then, in addition to going with your gut, also have everything very clear. So, have clear conversations with people,
Mm-hmm.
especially co writers and producers, about, you know, what how are you going to split everything,
Right.
writer side, publishing side. Um, if you're working with a producer, not only figuring out what their rate is, but what does
Mm-hmm.
that include? Like, does that include
Right.
studio time? Does that include paying, musicians session fees, or does that also include mixing, or sitting in on the mixing session or mastering session, or just being really clear about everything. And
Mm-hmm.
also having a contract in some way, and it can be a really simple contract, but just something that lays everything out
Right.
is really helpful. So just pick people that you trust,
Mm-hmm.
that your gut instinct tells you, oh, I can trust this person.
Right.
And also, in addition to that, have clear conversations about expectations, and then write those expectations on paper so that everyone is clear about everything. Is really important.
I love that because many times money is the main thing where you lose friendship, you break up, you split up, things become angry because it's not what you thought or you felt like when we discussed it, you know, 2 months ago, and now here we have the actual complete, project, and now we're thinking we're getting something that we have not received.
Hmm. Yeah.
Always. It's always like that. It seems to be with the money situation. Some people are asking about as far as when you do get your project complete and you're shopping it around, you're trying to get it into, the radio stations and things like that. And then, but you have a family member that's your management or whatever, and they don't take it seriously.
Mm. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think that's why it's important to, one, have a manager who, a lot of times you can manage yourself. You want to have a
Mm,
manager when you get to the point where you feel like your calendar or your, long-term strategic planning really needs some type of backup, you know?
mm-hmm,
And that can also come from an assistant, or an intern, but I think a manager is more of a partnership, so people tend to respect that partnership more. It's a long-term thing. Um, but at the end of the day, it's I what I've realized through my career is, one, it's important to know how to do things for yourself.
mm-hmm,
So it's important to have an understanding, even if you have a manager, to understand what they are supposed to be doing
mm-hmm.
and how they might go about it. So it's important to understand in in a complete way what their role is, and that role can be ever evolving, but just
Right.
in the basics. And there's a book you can read about artist management. There's several books that'll kind of give you a better understanding of what a manager does. So it's important to have an understanding of what everyone's supposed to be doing and also how to do it yourself. And it's also important to know how to delegate. So I've run myself around in circles trying to do things, and
Mm-hmm.
learn new things and do things that if I called the right person, they could have done it in a day, or an
Absolutely.
hour or
Ab-
15 minutes with one phone call.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, let's look at it.
Yeah.
We have a video that we're going to look at of you, and one of your songs is Real Love. I love that song. And
Oh, wonderful.
we're gonna look at the video, and then we're gonna come back from break. We're gonna take a break after that and come and talk about what inspired you. Let's look at Real Love.
When I'm in your arms, I know it's where I should be. It's a place that feeds my soul. And I don't see myself ever letting go, 'cause it's a place I can call my own. And I know I have wronged you with my careless words, but somehow you always see me through. And I know times get rough when I'm so far away, but you can trust that I'll always be true. 'Cause this is love, baby, ain't nothing less. I know we've got love, baby, we passed the test. Through all the hard times, we kept holding on. And I know that we'll always be strong, 'cause this is real love.
Hey, that was absolutely beautiful. I just wanted to show people. We're gonna take a break, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office, like the new 2020 XT4 Premium Luxury, only $359 a month, the new 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury, $399 a month, or the first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury, just $499 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down, or purchase and choose 0% APR for 60 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office. Now purchase the new 2020 Escalade and enjoy $9,500 in total purchase allowance, plus 2.99% APR for 72 months with no payments until 2021. Or drive the 2020 Escalade for only $799 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down. Ron Carter Cadillac. Visit roncartercadillac.com.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we are back with Cecily. Hey, lady.
Hey.
Hey, I love that song. Let's talk about real love. How was that inspired?
Actually, that was inspired by a long distance relationship that I was in
Yeah.
many years ago, about 7 or 8 years ago now. And he lived in Ghana and I lived in the US. And we were very young. We were like, 20, 21 years old. And a lot of people asked us why we would want to be in a long distance, committed relationship at such a young age. It can get so difficult. And the only thing I could ever say is just, we're in love and it feels right. So that's what I wrote that song about. Just, sometimes things are hard, but when you know that it's truly love, you make sacrifices and you make a commitment.
You really, really do. I love that song. I had to show that one and I just love your vocals. I love the way it was put together. Just the inspiration of just love, especially now with the COVID situation. Many people are just, they're losing loved ones. Even when they do get sick, they can't be with their loved ones in hospitals. And just love in itself, I think, is just the catalyst I wish we all could feel,
Yeah, definitely. It's a rough time. Love inspires everything that I do in my
Yes.
personal life and in my music. My last project, my newest project, Awakening Part 1, is all about exploring unconditional love and what that looks like and feels like and acts like. And, not just in romantic partnerships, but with any loved one and
Right.
especially with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love that about you. When you feel it when you listen to your music, when you see you, when you are talking to you. I was even about a week ago looking at your meditation.
Oh, wonderful.
And let's talk about that because I had never meditated. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Just the soothing voice, just you speaking at that time. It really gave a calm to all, being around because like I said, COVID, many people are looking at CNN. They're scared. They're in fear. They don't know what's going on. And many of their loved ones are passing away without them, and not knowing what is happening in such a real way. Let's talk about meditation and how you started.
So, yeah, I started meditating many years ago. I think it was a while. I don't even remember when I started meditating, but in 2015, I challenged myself to meditate for 30 days straight, once a day or
Yeah.
twice a day, but at least for 30 days straight. And that's when it really became more a part of my daily practice. And
Yes.
so I try to meditate daily. Sometimes, it's 5 days a week or something like that. But it's really an important part of my self-healing care and ritual for myself. And so it was something that I had been doing for friends here and there over the last few years, like offering them guided meditations. And when the pandemic hit and the lockdown began, it just gave me some space and some time to explore things that are related to my music but are outside of the music that I felt that I could offer people, and meditation was one of those things. And so I started doing weekly meditations, guided meditations on my Instagram page, and then I also started posting those to one of my favorite meditation apps called Insight Timer, and it's just something that's been important to me and I wanted to share with people.
Well, I tell you what, it on that day I looked at it. I had never meditated, but it was just the calming of of your voice. It was something that at that time it made you, because people are they're enclosed, they're inside, they're staying inside. But the relationship that you had through your voice and just your vocals, how caring it was, how calming it was. Many people are not still. You know, they have their children around, they have the dog running, they have this running, and you just said, get into a space, close your eyes. And as you were speaking, it made you calm. You know what I mean? It helps so many people because we never know what people are going through, especially by them not being as a social distance. They're distanced from their family, they're distanced from their workspace, they're distanced from, children, or distanced from school. So socialization is not there. And when I heard that, I listened closely and it was calming. It just made the world just at peace at that moment. And I love that about you. Wow. Just to freely give that. Many people are in crisis. They really are. And many people can't be alone. Domestic violence is up, child abuse is up, suicide is up. And just that one thing that you helped people with at that point, you never know. It could have been that last brink. You know what I mean? And I love that about you as far as that meditation. I tell you, your project, let's talk a little bit more about it. We're going to play something at the end, a little bit for this segment, but let's talk a little bit more about how it came about. What was your thoughts?
So, like I said, Awakening Part 1 is an album that explores unconditional love. And I decided to call it Part 1 because you can't explore unconditional love in just 4 songs. So I knew there needed to be a Part 2. So Part 2 coming soon. Um, but it's really a project that was inspired by a few different books that I read over the last few years that I got married in 2017, and around that time, leading up to that time, I really started reading books about love because I realized that so much of what we learn about love comes from our families, and we learn, good habits and bad habits that way, and a lot of what we learn about love comes from media, from movies and TV and music as well, and same thing. We pick up good habits and bad habits, and a lot of unreal expectations, especially from media, I think. And so I decided I wanted to read more about love. And through that process of reading, I realized that I kind of came to a decision within myself that as an artist, I only wanted to spread, healthy messages about love. Because, like I said, so much of what we learn about love comes from, especially for Black people, a lot of what we learn about love comes from R&B music.
Yes.
And as someone who's kind of in that legacy, in that legacy of R&B and soul music, I decided that if this is what I'm doing and this is the message that I'm spreading to my people, I want it to be something healthy and healing and real, but healthy. And so each song on the project is inspired by a quote from one of the books. So, and the books, I'll just name them really quickly. If anyone's interested, I highly recommend them if you are, working on your reading list at the moment. One of my favorites is called How to Love, and it's a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Zen Buddhist teacher. And How to Love is a beautiful little book. If you can fit it in your purse, even in your pocket, it's amazing. The other one I read and was inspired, the album is called The Mastery of Love, which is by Don Miguel Ruiz. And that's actually was a life-changing book for me in a lot of ways. I highly recommend that one. And then the other book is called is by Bell Hooks, and it's called All About Love. So I just read a lot of books about love, and I wanted to share
I
things I
love that.
learned through
I
the
love
music.
that. I love that. We have a video that you have for Clumsy. And I love that video. We're going to show it and we're going to come back to you and talk a little bit about it. Let's see Clumsy.
Great.
Please forgive my clumsy fingers. They can hold a heart. The more I want it, the more they tremble. Insecure from the start, so I can't know yet. If I don't know myself, I can't hold yet. If I can hold myself, I can't love you yet. 'Cause I don't love myself. I don't love myself the way I should.
I love that. I love that. Was that
Thank you.
inspired? Clumsy.
So the song itself was inspired by a quote from the book How to Love,
Yeah.
a couple different quotes actually. And in one of them, Thich Nhat Hanh, he writes that, and I'm going to paraphrase here,
Yeah.
but he writes basically that, we can love someone, but in our clumsiness, we still make them suffer sometimes. And I thought that that was very true and very real. And I also just loved the word clumsy when I read it. I just thought that was a great word. And so, I wrote the first few lines of the song after reading that passage a couple of times, please forgive my clumsy fingers. They can't hold a heart. And I think that that's just very real. Sometimes we're not in a space where we're ready to love somebody else in the way that they deserve to be loved, or in a way that is a healthy and a love that frees, basically, instead of a love that confines. And so I just want to write a song about that. That sometimes it's okay to say, I'm not ready for this. It's okay to say, I need some time to work on me. It's okay to say, I'm still healing from my past and I want to do this work before, I do something that hurts you, or I make, or I'm just not as careful with your heart or with your feelings, as I should be. And so that's what Clumsy is really about. And the video itself was directed by Terrell Siobhan, who is an amazing director. And, we kind of brainstormed. We talked a lot about color scheme, and we talked a lot about how to use light and shadow, and you know, um, different ways to bring about the emotion of the songs. And we wanted to have kind of like a retro 70s vibe as
Yes.
well. And also to be sultry, because the song itself is very sultry, so we added lots of silks and satins, and, it has a really nice vibe. I'm really happy with the way it came out.
Oh, it looked absolutely great. I love it.
Thank you.
In doing videos, I'm glad you brought that up about the style and what you put into it, and the just the showmanship, the way it looked, and things like that. If it's being offered on BET, how would somebody get theirs aired on there?
Yeah, I gotta give it up to my agent, Sherry Thompson.
Yes.
She organized that for me, and luckily she was able to get the eyes of one of the producers at BT on it,
Mm-hmm.
and they liked it,
Mm-hmm.
and they decided to put it in rotation. So that was really a blessing. So thank you to Sherry for that,
Yes,
just for, being
absolutely.
magical, making things happen on my behalf.
Absolutely.
I
I wanted
appreciate
to
it.
give her that, let's give her that honor. That is so great, great, great. But just looking, I love the fact about love. And many times that you're right. We jump into another relationship coming out of one and we're already broken, and bringing the past with us. I love that you speak
Yeah.
on that. And it's okay many times. We want companionship, but we've got to heal first, you know?
Yeah, and it's important to be intentional about that healing. And I'm not saying that people have to heal in isolation. I think a lot
Right,
of times, almost all the time, like community is so important,
right.
friendship and companionship are so important. And you can be in a relationship and still, be working on yourself. You have to
Yes.
constantly be growing and, learning, improving your self awareness. It's a daily thing. It's a daily thing. But I think tend to be one of those people that can kind of go from relationship to relationship. And I think sometimes it's important to take that time and say, I just need to learn myself. I need to learn how to
Hmm.
love myself a little better before I make a commitment to somebody else, and that's okay.
I love the fact that you said that because it's many women and men that are single at this point. Maybe they've just come out of a relationship or been out of a relationship for a long period of time. But you got married in 17. What was the pivotal point in you opening yourself up in a relationship of love?
Actually, it's funny because I said that the book The Mastery of Love was
Right.
life-changing for me, and that is why it actually helped me to realize that I was ready to get married. Me and my husband had been dating for about a year and a half,
Hmm.
and we had been talking about potentially getting married, but we weren't sure, about the timing and everything. And
Hmm.
I just realized in the book, he says, you either love someone or you don't. It's kind of that simple. You either love them unconditionally and accept them as they are,
Right.
or you realize that you don't truly love them enough to do that. And so you might need to let them go, and that's okay. And I realized while reading that passage that I really did love my husband unconditionally. And it's not like I was waiting for anything to happen. If I love him, I'm not waiting for him to change or to be someone
Right.
else or for us to have more money or, all these different things. I just realized like, no, if I want to be with him, we can do it now. We can do it whenever. We
Right.
love each other. So, and actually, from the moment I read that book until the day we got married, I think was about 3 months.
Wow. Now you have all the ladies and guys going out to get the book. They said they want to change their lives too, you know. Uh, but I love that. I love the fact that you did say, "Okay, what am I waiting on? I mean, what am I supposed to be? You know, is there something supposed to happen different than is happening now? You know." And I love the fact you didn't try to change a person. Many times we try to change that person to something that we have on our list. We have a list sometimes. And on that list, the person that we really are supposed to be with, a lot of things may not be on that.
Yeah, it's funny because my husband always says that he manifested me. Like he wrote down what he wanted in a partner, and a few
Yeah,
months later he met me.
that's
And I
right.
actually feel like I had to do the opposite. I feel like
Yeah,
I had like in my head like a list of all these things I wanted, and then I met this man that I truly felt bonded with and connected with and
right.
who knew how to love me. But in my mind, I was still thinking, but he's not this and he's not that. And
Right.
I realized, like, the things that I was attached to in some way, they had no meaning, they had no
Right.
importance at the end of the day, like so it's funny, I think it can go both ways. Sometimes
Yes,
you need to be specific about what you want, and
right.
sometimes you just need to surrender and allow what, God is giving you, or whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, what the
Yeah.
universe is giving you, your ancestors, if they're presenting you with someone who is treating you well and that you
Hmm.
are truly in love with, like, why have this list you're holding up and saying, "But wait." You gotta let all that go sometimes.
Exactly, exactly. I remember listening to a friend of mine, and she was saying that she had this whole list, and after doing the list, her husband, that's now is not on the list. He was her best friend the whole time. They were best friends, and realizing that he was really the one that they were supposed to be married because she would share everything with him. She would call him for everything. Whatever, even if she was in a relationship, she would call him to change the tire or whatever the case was. And she realized her mother kept saying, "That's your husband." And she realized that. 30 years later, they're still together. So that is
Oh,
neat.
wow.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's do this. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office, like the new 2020 XT4 Premium Luxury, only $359 a month, the new 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury, $399 a month, or the first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury, just $499 a month, all for 39 months lease with just $1 down, or purchase and choose 0% APR for 60 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, Attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call Attorney Willie Powles.
Ron Carter Cadillac, Houston's only Cadillac to your door dealer, delivers test drives to your home or office. Now purchase the new 2020 Escalade and enjoy $9,500 in total purchase allowance, plus 2.99% APR for 72 months with no payments until 2021. Or drive the 2020 Escalade for only $799 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down. Ron Carter Cadillac. Visit RonCarterCadillac.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, thanks so much for coming back. We are here with Cecily. Hey, lady.
Hey.
Everybody's been trying to write down the name of the book. I had some inboxes. What's that book again?
Yes, I highly recommend it, guys. Called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. The wonderful book.
Exactly. I mean, she's married. I mean, look at this. She's married. Let's talk about some of the songs that are on your new project and how what they came about, each one, and then where can people find it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So people can find my music everywhere: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, anywhere you like to listen. Tidal. I highly recommend Tidal, actually. I like Tidal. Nobody really listens to Tidal, but I like Tidal.
Right.
So, and you can just search my name, first name Cecily, and you'll find my music there. But like I said, there's 4 songs on the project, and they were each inspired by a quote from one of the books that I previously mentioned.
Right.
And, in the project, I really wanted to tell a story in some way. So I talk a lot about self-love, and I also talk about romantic love. But, the album starts out with a single, which is Clumsy.
Yes.
And on that project, and in that song, I'm really saying, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. I need to work on myself. And then it moves into the song Set Myself Free, which is all about forgiveness, is all about healing, is forgiving yourself, forgiving people who have hurt you in the past, and learning that forgiveness can really set you free in some way. It can free you up to just be in a new place in your life, be in a place of more grace, more patience, more kindness, more peace, more joy. So the second song is all about forgiveness. And then it moves into one of my favorite songs on the project that I actually wrote about my husband. It's called No Room for Fear. Yeah. And that song is really about, when you kind of what we were talking about before, about the book and how I realized I was ready to really make that commitment of being in a marriage with someone, or not with someone, but with my husband. that song is really about, when you have something good, when it feels right, you can't let your fears about the future get in the way.
Right.
And you can't also let your, fear or of what may have happened in the past of, I'm afraid that might happen again, or you can
Right.
only deal with the right here and the right now. And if the
Hmm.
right here and the right now is good, you just got to let it be good, you know?
Absolutely. I like that.
And the last song on the project is called Acceptance. And that song is really about, okay, so now you've gone through this healing process.
Yes.
You've come to this place where you're ready to, stand in love and not let fear get in the way of you and your relationships and your growth. So, what does that look like? How do you do that? And, it's really about acceptance. It's really about loving someone unconditionally and offering them, your time, your presence, your patience,
Hmm.
compassion, giving them, time to be heard and time to feel seen. And that's what that song is really about. It's just accepting somebody fully. And so I really try to tell a story with the song, with the album. I know nobody really listens to albums anymore. But I encourage you to listen to it from start to finish and really feel that growth and that movement
Right.
happening.
Right. I love the way you just described that because many times we do get to a point where, first of all, just like you said, just being the clumsy, just having the time just to be with you, the self, because past, each time we're carrying the luggage of past, 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 and then we dump it on this new person, and they're like, wait a minute, I didn't do any of that. That wasn't me. I didn't do. you know
Yeah.
and then we have that wall up and things like that. And then I love the fact of forgiveness, you know because many times we feel it's for the other person, but it's really for yourself.
Yeah.
It's really to heal you. And I think that part we harbor, the hurt, the anger, all of that, and we don't allow ourselves to live,
Mhm.
you know
Definitely. I always say I feel like guilt and shame are useless emotions.
yes.
They don't really serve us in any way. And I feel like the more, cuz there are people in our lives that have hurt us that
Yeah.
we can work to move towards forgiveness, like you said, for our own peace and our own joy in our own lives.
Hmm.
But a lot of times what we're really holding on to is we're not able to forgive ourselves. And
Yes.
so we do little things to punish ourselves. We even stay in bad relationships because we feel
Yes.
like subconsciously we think we deserve it, because we're
Hmm.
punishing ourselves for not being good enough or not being pretty enough or not, being as successful or, all these things that we carry with us, this shame and this guilt. And
Right.
so it's only through really true self awareness that we can start to see those things in ourselves, those
Right.
bad things we tell ourselves, and we can see the patterns in our lives. We can see the decisions we make out of those negative feelings we have about ourselves, and we can start to shift that. And I think forgiveness is at the center of that, really. It's at the center of that. Really, love is at the center.
Yeah.
Forgiveness comes from love. Forgiveness comes from love.
And I love the way you talk about acceptance because I see so many that we look in a magazine or we see it on TV or we see a body image or somebody that has their hair different or somebody that has different clothing or something like that, and we try to place ourselves in that way. And many times we either put ourselves in harm's way sometimes, or we're changing ourselves to be them. And I love the way you talk about acceptance, or we try to change the other person that we're with to model
Yeah.
something we want. And they just can't be that. They are who they are. They love you and they care about you, but yet we beat that part down because we're trying to change them. And I love that about you. Say, just accept the person as they are and see them for who they are. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really the essence of it. Yeah.
Just love. I love that part about it. So tell us some more about what's the next part. Are we going on to part two? This is part one.
This is part one,
Yeah.
yes. So I actually also want to encourage people to, in addition to watching the music video for the single Clumsy, we also put out a visual EP, which is like a narrative short film that incorporates all 4 songs from the project and kind of takes you to that through that storyline that I mentioned previously.
Yes.
And I think it's really beautiful. So I encourage everyone to watch that. I am gonna start going back in the studio in
Yeah.
about 3, 4 weeks from now to start working on part 2. So expect a new single sometime later this fall.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Let's talk about, and let's say that again about the people are asking about the project that you just spoke about with all 4 songs as a narrative, right?
Yes, so if you go, it's on YouTube. It's called Awakening, the
Yes.
visual EP.
Uh-huh.
So it's a long form narrative music film, really,
Mm-hmm.
that uses the music to kind of tell the story of this couple. So it's me and the male lead in the short, and we kind of go through problems in clumsy,
Yes.
figuring ourselves out, deciding to take some time apart, and then, well, actually, he leaves me in the video. And then for Set Myself Free, I go away, I take some time for myself. I go through some healing processes,
Mm-hmm.
some healing rituals. And then in No Room for Fear, he and I kind of reconnect and we start to mend what was broken. And then in Acceptance is just us being, and fully in love in all our glory, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's so beautiful. I really love how it turned out. And I encourage everyone to watch that when you can. It's on YouTube. And you can
Abs-
find me on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Cecily Music. So you can find all my videos there.
I love that. How can people get in touch with you, or how do they contact a fan page, or what do they do? Let's talk about your social media and all of that.
Yes, so I'm on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
probably more than I should be. So you can you can always reach me on Instagram. And like
Mm-hmm.
I said, I also do my live meditations there
Yes.
Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And if that's too early for you, or if you're on the West Coast or something, I do repost them on my IGTV later on. So you can always also check out all my previous meditations on my Instagram page, which is at Cecily Alexa. That's CeciliAlexa, Cecily Alexa. You can also find me on Twitter, same handle, Cecily Alexa. And, if you just want to keep in touch with me, like I said, send me a message through any of those places, Facebook, Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
All my videos are on YouTube. So you can really find me anywhere. And you can also listen to all my music, like I said, on Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Google Play, Pandora, all of those.
All of
Yeah.
those, all of those. What would you like to leave with the viewers, Miss Cecily?
I think, just what we've been talking about this whole time is just, I always like to say, just today, just love yourself. Just
Mm-hmm.
today, just love yourself with no judgment, full acceptance, just as you are right now. There's nothing that you need to do in this moment to be worthy of love. You're always worthy of love, especially your own love. So.
I appreciate you, lady. Thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the introduction to a beautiful spirit of love. Wow. We don't hear
Thank you.
that, especially during this time, COVID. So many families are battling health issues and things like that. And then, of course, you have 40 million plus people that are unemployed, devastated, lost businesses and everything. So I so thank you for doing love and focusing on that so people can come back to it.
Thank you so much, Cam. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
I do. Thank you so much and be blessed. We are going to, thank you. We are going to, thank you so much. I want to thank each of everybody that's looking on today. I know at this point, many people are going through situations with COVID. We're losing family members. We're losing friends. I want to say prayers to Dr. Ed Montgomery. Sister Sandra Montgomery passed away on yesterday, and my God, she was a beautiful angel. Thank you, Sister Sandra, for being who you are. Thank you so much. Let's look at what's going to be the rest of the week. And bye-bye.